Okay, I swore I wouldn't do this, because to me it's not a big deal. But, you know, it kind of has to be said. I came out of the closet when I was 18. However, when I was 13 years old, I did approach my mum one day and told her that I thought I was either gay or bisexual. I remember I walked into the living room and I asked my sister if she could, move it upstairs. My mum was sitting there watching sort of the television. She was all looking in that direction. She had a fag like that, and she sort of she had her ankle on her knee, looking at the telly, and she sort of then looked over at me. I sat down and I said, "Mum, I think I might be gay." And her immediate reaction was she looked away, laughed, and went, "No, you're not." Like that. "No, you're not. No, don't be silly." That was it. Don't be silly. I could never stand it when I was young when people said, "Don't be silly." Why would I be silly? What's the point in being silly? I'm being sincere. She thought I was just going through a phase. She said, "No, no, no, it's a phase. It's a phase. You'll grow out of it. You'll be fine. I've heard you talk about boys, and you always liked, what's his name?" Which I actually didn't. I actually liked them as an actor, not physically. Um, yeah, I was 13. And I really didn't feel my mum had taken me seriously, but she was my mum. I trusted her implicitly. She was a very wise woman, and I always believed she was right until I got older and realised my mum was wrong about a lot of things. But I carried on with my life thinking that, like my mum said, I'll grow out of it, and maybe it's because I'm just a one-man woman. I just wanted to meet my prince, just like many other women do, like in Disney. When I turned 15, not long after I turned 15, I developed a very deep infatuation for a woman who I'd already known for a few years. But after I turned 15, and I think I started to mentally and physically mature more into a woman, I saw this woman in another kind of light. I became quite interested in her, quite fascinated with her. I thought it was just an admiration. I thought it was just that I was naturally just drawn to her. That was it. I had a crush on this person. I had never felt attracted to anybody before. I never even fancied any of my school friends. I never felt that thing that anybody talks about when they, the girls when they talked about boys. I mean, I didn't hang out with girls a lot because I just couldn't stand gossiping and talking about boys. 6 months later, I realised I'd completely fallen in love with this woman. And it was, unfortunately, unrequited. She didn't really even like me. I never told her how I felt. Never. But I think she knew. I knew her for another few years after that. And then I think she moved away, and that was it. I didn't see her again. And I had a thing for her for a few years. It took me 3.5 years after I first had feelings for this person to come out of the closet. By the point I was 18 and a half, I started to have feelings for other women. I told my mum then when I was 18 and a half, and I said to her, "I told you 5 years ago, you said I was going through a phase. It's a bloody long phase." And she still said, "No, I don't think you are." I said, "Mum, don't tell me I'm being silly. Don't tell me it's a phase. I know." And she went, "Well, I don't think you are." It took her a year to accept it. And when she did, she was more than happy to tell the family for me. I was a bit worried coming out to them because her own children were very conservative, and some had very strong opinions on gay people, and on general LGBTQ issues. And my mum stood up for me and said, "I'm not going to have any of you sitting around here saying that you think it's disgusting. I'm not having that talk around my daughter. I'm not having that talk anytime, because now you know that my daughter is." And she encouraged me to go out to a gay bar. I had my first girlfriend when I was 20. I'd had some acquaintances before that, but I had my first serious relationship when I was 20. It only lasted 3 months, but it was serious from the get-go to the end. And I did fall in love. It really hurt when she said it was over. She gave me a very clean-cut break. And yeah, she was my first love, and it was a very deep cut, but it was a very clean cut. It took me 3 times as long as the relationship lasted to actually get over it. When I was finally over it, I then met my second girlfriend, and we dated on and off for a year. And I think a lot of people talk about their first loves and say that they were the best loves or the great loves. the one that you never forget, the first cut's the deepest and all that. For me, it was my second girlfriend meant more to me than my first. I think I fell deeper in love the second time around. She ended our relationship, but she never gave me a clear reason why. It was just, she was sort of hopping from one to the other. And I have reason to believe that she cheated on me, even though I don't have any concrete evidence. It's just gut feeling. So I'm never going to say she cheated on me. I'm only going to say I have a feeling that she cheated on me. And I don't think I'm ever going to get an answer, but to be honest, it doesn't matter, because 8-9 months after we broke up, even though I was still getting over the pain, that's when I got together with my now wife, whom I have been with nearly 11 years. And yeah, we've been married nearly 9 years. My mum absolutely adores my wife. She loves her like her own, and she even calls us her two girls. And when we finally got engaged, she referred to her as my new daughter. She was over the moon to have my wife join our family. I guess what I'm trying to say with this is that it doesn't matter who you're with, you know, it's nobody's business but your own. And my mum even shares that opinion. Who I'm sleeping with is none of her business. It's nothing to do with her. Your parents don't like their children to turn out gay, but maybe that's because they feel that their children owe them and therefore should do what they want. I'm sorry, but when your child turns 18, it's none of your business. It really isn't. And what people do behind closed doors has no concern of yours. And just because people happen to be a heterosexual couple doesn't mean that you automatically know what they do behind closed doors, because for all you know, any kind of shiz can go down. And just because a couple are gay or they may be transgender, you don't know what they do behind closed doors. Don't think about it. And that's, I think, the taboo. As soon as people find out someone is gay or whatever, they instantly jump to, oh, what do they do in bed? And then they may have, that's what makes people feel kind of disgusted. Well, that's none of your business whether they're gay or straight. It has nothing to do with your relationship with them as a colleague or a family member or a friend or an acquaintance or anything. That doesn't come into it. It's none of my mother's business who I sleep with. It's none of my mother's business as to who I'm married to. It doesn't affect my relationship with her as her daughter. My mum did tell me many years later that when I was 13 and told her that I was gay, she knew I was speaking the truth. She said she had an idea, but she just didn't want to entertain it. She just didn't want me to be. I think maybe she wanted grandchildren, but again, a desire to have grandchildren, it's not up to the child to give their parents grandchildren. It's up to the child to have children if they want to have children. And I firmly believe that every child should live their own individual life. And if the parents like it, great. If they don't, well, I'm sorry, but it's your child's life. You can't live your life through your children. I always love that quote from Little Mermaid, Sebastian. Children got to be free to lead their own lives. He had just come to that realization at that point, after he had always said that Ariel had to toe the line with her father. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you found this insightful. Any questions or comments or whatever, please leave them below. You know the drill. And I'll see you very soon, my little berries. Love you very much. Bye. Mwah.